Welcome back, legends. I hope you're all amazing. Today on 5 Killer Riffs, we are taking a look at one of my favorite bands of all time, massively influential on the way I play, write, and generally think about music. We are talking about the one and only Queensrÿche, and lots of you have requested this video, so let's get straight into it. Let's start at the start with a track of the very first Queensrÿche EP. We're going to do the track Queen of the Reich. Very much Queensrÿche in their infancy, where you can hear they're basically a new wave of British heavy metal band, but from the United States. This song, and in particular the song Night Rider, kind of sound like Iron Maiden songs that maybe got lost to the sands of time. And Jeff Tate is very much like a turbocharged Bruce Dickinson. You've got Scott Rockenfield and Eddie Jackson as a Nico and Steve Harris style rhythm section. And of course, you've got Chris DeGarmo and Michael Wilton absolutely wailing away on guitars. What I tried to do here, because the riff is relatively straightforward, is to try and track the left and the right channels using slightly different inversions of the chords, which hopefully I got right. I have no idea if this is how they tracked it on the record, but it was fun to have some fun with this riff. Queen of the Reich. Queensrÿche's next album, The Warning, I think started to move them away from that new wave of British heavy metal sound into a sound that a lot of people would associate with early progressive metal, along with bands like Fate's Warning, which I think Queensrÿche in this era definitely sound a lot like, and of course Dream Theater, who are probably, the titans of prog metal. The Warning had a lot of interesting elements on there, longer songs, you had some really cool textured guitar parts, a lot of that classic, what was to become a classic Queensrÿche clean sound, and chords with lovely inversions on the top. But the song Take Hold of the Flame is the big anthem on there, and for me, it's the song I always think about when I think about that particular Queensrÿche album. And again, stuff that was so of the era, the way they're playing a lot of these power chords on the D, G, and B string. There's that kind of similarity with, if you listen to Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne, or a lot of metal from that era, you're going to hear a lot of those chords and a lot of those guitar sounds. So let's hear Take Hold of the Flame. Coming up next, a song that is easily in my top 5 Queensrÿche songs, the very first song on the Rage for Order album, Walk in the Shadows. It's, again, a great example of Queensrÿche taking a pretty simple chord progression, it's F sharp minor, E, and D, and layering some intricate 2 guitar parts in there to just create something that sounded a little bit out of the ordinary. And Rage for Order is such an amazing album. I think a lot of people like me probably got into Queensrÿche via Operation Mindcrime and Empire, and then you loved it, so you went, what else does this band have? And you got Rage for Order, and Rage for Order it's like the fans' favorite Queensrÿche album. So I've tried to recreate both guitar parts here. I love that there's a main guitar part just kind of playing the big power chords, and another one playing some more intricate thirds and other intervals on there. Again, it's something that's a little bit atypical of the time, but on this particular album, I think you really start to hear the Queensrÿche sound. Coming up next, I have to include something off Operation Mindcrime because it is the Queensrÿche album. I think what's interesting to me on Mindcrime is you get Queensrÿche's fully formed classic sound on this, and that classic sound has less to do with iconic guitar riffs and more to do with really clever arrangements, really clever melodies, and Scott Rockenfield and Eddie Jackson just being the best rhythm section in the world, where there's so many interesting syncopated and synchronized hits that they do that reinforce either the guitar riffs or the guitar textures that are happening. You know, there's so many great atmospheric songs on there where the guitars are playing chords with big extensions and open chords and these wonderful time-based effects, and then you've got this rock-solid rhythm section. And Eddie Jackson's bass sound, it's up there with Geddy Lee and Doug Pinnick in the realms of great distorted bass guitar sounds. So the song that I've chosen to represent this is actually the song The Mission, because it's the first Queensrÿche song that I actually really got into. And it's kind of got this little Kashmir style thing on it where you're playing, you know, an E power chord and you move the fifth up to the minor sixth, and then you have an inverted A power chord. So this kind of thing. And of course, the wonderful acoustic guitar intro and the big chorus with the layered guitar parts. The production on this album is amazing. And if you've never sat down and done an Operation Mindcrime listening session, you owe it to yourself to do it. So here's The Mission. So one riff left, I have to do something off Empire, and again, Empire, I think, takes that idea they had on Operation Mindcrime a step further, where there's no big, like, low register riffs that are super memorable on this. It's all about really clever arrangements. You've got more keyboards and strings on this particular album, lush vocal harmonies. The production is wet and glorious. Jeff Tate's vocals, you know, he's no longer this kind of Bruce Dickinson style wailing singer. He's got this emotional timbre to his voice that's just captivating. And Empire, you know, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. I will always listen to that album all the way through when I put it on. I can't say enough good things about it. And, you know, if I'm going to show somebody Queensrÿche, I'm going to show them Empire, and I'm going to make sure they listen until the first couple of tracks so that they can hear Jet City Woman, that giant grinding bass at the start, Scott Rockenfield's drumming. So I've tried to recreate it as best I can, Jet City Woman. As I've said a few times, I don't think you can boil down Queensrÿche into just a few riffs, because the reason that Queensrÿche was such a great band has so much more to do with the way they write, arrange, and produce music as a whole, rather than just a band with some cool guitar parts. Although there are plenty of cool guitar parts. I didn't touch on any of the awesome, like, clean arpeggiated guitar parts in this. Maybe I should do a dedicated video to that. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to hear that, because the tones, the really interesting chords that they use in a lot of songs. They were just massively influential for me, and I know they were massively influential for so many people out there. It's why they're one of my favorite bands of all time. It's why Rage for Order, Operation Mindcrime, and Empire in particular are desert island discs for me. And if you've watched this far, they probably are for you. Let me know what your favorite Queensrÿche song or guitar part or general moment is in the comment section below. And if you like this video and you want to support my channel directly, there is a link to my Patreon in the video description. You can also check out some of the music that I make with my band Ragdoll, which if you've watched this video, you might enjoy. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Have a great day.